I'm just here to answer all of the questions from the Q&A. I put out a video that just said if you have any random questions to ask me, go for it. And I was going to do this Q&A with my friend Kelly Bluen, who has her own YouTube channel, but we couldn't make it work. So I'm just gonna kind of like, I wanted to be doing something cute while I did this video. I can't think of a darn thing, but I need to answer your questions, and I want to answer your questions. So here we go. Okay, this is funny. If you had to choose completely a different career, what would it be? A window designer for Anthropologie. Do you know that store Anthropologie? So this would be like, kind of like the windows at like Macy's for Christmas, but they just do really cool displays all year round at Anthropologie. So that's a fun one. Let's see. Okay, lots of questions about doing a series for December. I don't know the answer. I'm thinking about it. To be completely transparent, I am an artist first and a teacher second. And I put so much time into the 30-day watercolor series for October that I just haven't been able to like paint and create artwork on my own. And I have 5 kids and I've got a lot going on. So that's kind of the reason I wouldn't. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a break. I do have an idea for if I do it. I already have it planned, but I need to have some time. So I'm not sure about that one. Let's see. Holiday classes. Oh, someone says, do you always use ink last or do you sometimes do it first? So this is something I experimented with when I was a new artist, and I just did a whole painting, ink first, watercolor second, and then the same painting, watercolor first, ink second. And every time, I love what happens when you do ink last, so that's what I stick with. It kind of goes with watercolor being light to dark, so I like it for that. And then also I like to be able to clean up details or add details later. And when I think about it, my ink is a fine line. That tends to be details for me, so I can do things like add really cool markings and stuff later that I wouldn't think of yet too. So for me, always ink last, and that way you make sure your watercolor painting's fully dry and you know your ink is gonna like be good to go. So I like ink last for sure. More questions about a December. I love that. People talking about how artwork distracts from pain. I hear you and I see you. My favorite part of watercolor painting. That's a good question. My favorite part, it's got to be watching the paint, like when you're on wet and you get to just actually just play. So if it's a section that you don't care about exactly how it turns out and you get to watch dark paint get into water or light paint and you get to just watch the paint get pulled by the water, that's got to be it. But I love the planning period too. I actually really love the sketching portion. What's my favorite thing to paint? Landscapes, people, animals, botanicals. Funny answer, people. I bet you it's people, though you won't see it barely anywhere because I'm really kind of hard on myself. And maybe that's why I tell you guys not to be hard on yourself, is because I am hard on me. And see the painting behind me? That's Amanda Gorman. I love it. I'm so proud of it. I've done one acrylic portrait and that's it. And I love it, and I haven't even done it again. So that's kind of why I'm not sure I want to put more time into teaching at the moment, because I really want to keep growing as an artist. So people, let's see. What are your thoughts on watercolor brush pen markers? And thanks for your classes. I think they're fun to play with. To me, when I learned watercolor, they're just, the more you learn a medium and the more it becomes second nature for you, I just kind of, what's the purpose? To me, the truest thing is kind of the watercolors anyways. So, and because they are so compact and you can travel with them. I paint in bed a lot. I have a really cool table. It's linked on my website, if nothing else, but it's an amazing table. So I don't need it to be more transportable than that. So for me, I have tried watercolor pencils, watercolor markers. They're like a fun thing to play with sometimes, but I'd rather put more time into one thing and get better at it. Let's see. No way, this is the end. That's cute. Favorite, oh, my earrings. Oh, that's cute. Okay, I have a TikTok video with my earrings. I should have brought them for this. Maybe I'll bring them down here and show them to you. I do have quite the earring collection, yes. Shout out to favorite websites or shops. Okay, let me think about that one for my earrings. Do I have Pyrex bowl earrings? I do, and I love them. More comments about the earrings. That's so fun. How often do I paint my nails? Okay, so this is the color today. I paint my nails probably every 4 or 5 days. I love doing it. Like I said, I have that table that I use in the evening, so I can easily do artwork, sketch things, practice things, or paint my nails. So I paint my nails at that table in bed also. I use Olive in June, and it's like a manicure set with nail polishes. And I don't know, they just kind of teach you how to, like, the steps and the order to do things in, and then they last 4 or 5 days, so I feel good about it. And because I enjoy doing it, and I've put it into like a nighttime. So like if I find I need to do my nails, I'll set an alarm. I have an alarm on my phone called Nails, and it's at 7 o'clock at night, and I'll just boop, turn my alarm on, and it'll remind me, and I'll just do it as part of like my calm part of the evening. So that's funny. Let's see. What do you do with a painting that you mess up towards the end of painting it? That's a good question. I think the more you paint with watercolors, the more you will learn that it probably isn't ruined. The more you learn, I mean, if you stain the paper, a lot of times you can quickly get that stain up before it soaks in. If you could add something over it. You could make your shape a little bit bigger. There's a lot that you can do. So I don't often find that I've ruined a painting. Most of the time, I just need to continue working on it. That being said, making garlands out of them. So I think I'll probably end up doing a video about this at some point, but if you can cut it into little shapes and make a garland out of it, that's great. You can take a paper cutter, like I have like a big, like guillotine style, I think that's what it's called, paper cutter, and you can actually just cut it into small shapes, especially if you can't exactly tell what it is. That's a good way to do it. And then you could use those for gift tags too. So gift tags, bookmarks, there's a lot of stuff you can do with the portions that you do like, or even if it's the part you don't like, if you cut off what's around it, you might be able to disguise it. Let's see, what are my favorite things to paint with watercolor? I mean, I do love flowers too, and vines, and I like to I like bouquets of flowers, and I never know if it's bouquet or bouquet. I love all of that. Asking more for December, I don't know. Let's see. Also, yeah, sometimes like your beginner art, I say save it. Like I put mine literally in a bucket. That's why I joked about it on the last video. My beginner art is in this big bucket. And I love that as you grow and learn as an artist, and the more hours you put in, you'll be able to look back at it. And sometimes that's a really great way to see how much you've grown. How did I name my pets? Just because we're kooky, I don't know. I have a friend who told me that their neighbor's dog was named Uncle Pickles. I could not get over how much I loved that name. So I really tried to be able to name, I think Hash Brown Uncle Pickles, and it was a big fat no from my husband. But we did Hash Brown and loved it. So then by the time it came for Pickles, maybe I had already subliminally put it into him. And then I tried to call Pickles Uncle Pickles, and my family was like, why are you so weird? So that one didn't work out. But what's my least favorite thing to paint? Good question. Let's see. I don't think I have a specific answer for that. I like to think of the challenge of painting anything by breaking it up into remember I've talked about shape matching and color matching. So like not getting too caught up in what you're painting, but the ability to translate what you see onto paper. So I think that keeps me from hating things. Although, because I've done a lot of pet portraits, I think there have been times where I was kind of ready to not paint a pet. Let's see. Oh, where in the world would you go if money was no object to do some plein air painting? Probably Italy. I think I would go to Rome. I would love to sit with a bunch of other artists. Where you've ever seen like on a rooftop, there's all these artists just sitting there painting this really lovely like landmark. And also I got engaged in Rome, Italy when I was like 19, I guess, and I've never been back, so I think that would be a really cool place to go. It's a great question. You guys are so kind. I love reading these. How do you paint something on your own without a tutorial? Great question. Take the things that you've learned in the tutorials. I really did try to hit almost everything I could think of to help you just paint in a way that I learned to paint. So like if it was helpful for me, I tried to give it to you in the 30-day series. So, you know how we learn to observe as our first point? I think that's a huge deal. Like the observing point is so good. And then how we talked about beginning with a horizon line or large shapes, those things are going to get you really far. So I think what I would say is, without a tutorial, the next step would be just find an image that you like. Maybe buy a greeting card at the store. Maybe go on Pinterest and find some sort of simple beginner artwork. To make it even more simple, I would go simple beginner watercolor art or whatever, and I would do those. And then from watercolor, I would go simple beginner art, and then it can be in any medium, and you're trying to replicate that. From there, you could find a photo that you like or take a photo at your home of anything. You could set your favorite jars on the counter, your favorite utensil bucket with utensils in your kitchen, right? Then it's your photo, but we're keeping it simple. All you need is the counter, that's your horizon line. The vessel is your largest shape, right? And then start to go from there and just really lean into observation and using your negative space. Those are things like if you can paint a cartoon image, you can paint a photo. And I think it's just like leaning into the details, breaking it down into the small shapes and really focusing on what you see. So that's my tips on that part. What is your best advice on developing a personal style? I've been painting since 2019, but spent my life wanting to learn how to paint with watercolors. How can I transition from painting along with an artist to painting on my own? So that's basically the same, but I really think take a photo, paint your photo. Then that is no one else's work at all, and you can really see what you're doing. And I do find I didn't know either. Remember, I've only painted for about 5 years. Yeah, like right now is like my 5 years because we're in November. And I didn't know what my style was until I realized it was just what I did. And later on, the more artwork you produce, the more you'll be able to just look at that against someone else's and start to note the differences. So once again, it's observation. You versus someone else. What does your artwork have? Do you lean towards cartoon things? If something has eyes, are the eyes big and cartoon-like, or do you lean towards realism? Are your colors what you find in the environment? Do you lean towards a neutral? Do you try to make things more vibrant? Do you have a color palette you always use? Do you do things where there's one image in the center and a white background, or do you fill in the whole background? There's so many things, right? And I think naturally, like one, you have to do the art to start to observe your own art and see what your style is. So I'll leave it to that. Do I do pencil drawing classes? I don't like imposter syndrome, anybody? Like, like, who am I? But I think the things that you've learned in these 30 days, just build on them, leaning back into observation. and pressing lightly on your pencil. I'm telling you, because if you can erase it, you can try anything freely. So when you first draw a subject like the flamingo, do you look at a photograph of the real one? Yes. Sometimes I've taken that photograph at the zoo. Sometimes it's someone else's vacation photo and I say, hey, can I paint that? Most of the time people are like, yes, you can paint that. That's so cool. There are also photo reference groups on Facebook, like free landscape, I don't know, photographs for artists, or free references for artists on Facebook. So you'll find, I mean, at one point, my entire Facebook feed was just reference photos, and I would just scroll through and pick my favorites and have a great time. And then you can accumulate a lot. Sometimes I might, for a lesson, not for my own artwork, but for a lesson, I might look at 6 different paintings of a flamingo and kind of like observe them and go, okay, no, I want to take this from this one, this from this one, and then I'll turn it into my own thing. So sometimes it's a variety. But yeah, I love to do it from a photo for sure, because if you, I mean, I know some artists are like plein air only or whatever, but for me, a photo is amazing because it gives you, like, look at this image of me, how on the edges, right, you have a straight line. Great, we can work with that. I know from this straight line, the window intersects here. Do you see what I'm saying? So a photo gives you guidelines on the edges to start with, and I love that. It also gives you a lot of information. It already has a light source, and it tells you where that light source or several light sources are. So it has shadows and it has light. And so you can break it down into like shape matching and color matching again, and you have a ton of information there for you, and you get to pick what you include in your painting. So I love working from a photo reference. That was a very big game changer in me feeling like I can call myself an artist, because that's what I can do, is I can take a photo and I can sort of replicate that. If I have to pick a flamingo out of my brain, I do not know what's going to happen on that paper, you know. For real. Okay, let's see. Talking about different types of paints, can you use tube watercolor paints? You can absolutely use anything you want. You can test them out, trial and error, and pick what works best for you. I recommend this paint set a lot because it's what made things easy for me. I will be doing a review soon on another. It's through the same makers of this, but I think it's like less student grade, maybe a level up or something. So I'll do a review on another set of paints soon, but I love the pan sets that come where you can open that lid and use that as a palette. This is a lot of talking. Let's see. Just people being grateful for a series to work through. I love that. A question about using the images, like, yeah, I don't care if you want to use the image. I think the question of using them all together, I would say maybe skip that, because this is sort of my series I've created and I want it to live on. Like, if you know anybody who loves watercolor and my series was helpful for you, I would love for you to share it. I don't know that I want to be a YouTube content creator forever. I don't know how much watercolor I will teach, but I do think that I put a lot of time into that series, and based on all of your feedback, I really feel like it made a difference for a lot of you, and I think that's amazing. So I kind of want this 30-day series to be like my big thing. Who knows in the future what I'll do though. I never know. I'm always up to something. But preserving your watercolor art. So you can buy, it's like a fixative UV protectant spray. It comes in a can. I might have it here. Let's see. I think I have it here. Hold on. I'll grab it. Okay. This is like a UV archival varnish. You can take a picture of this if that's helpful to you. And it protects, okay, advanced non-yellowing protection against fading, dirt, moisture, and discoloration. It contains superior levels of UV light absorbers and stabilizers. protects acrylic, watercolor, oil pastel, colored pencils, and oil. So this is a nice one. So if I do any commission paintings or if I'm selling any originals, I'll always give it a good spray of this first. And then I always recommend matting it so you keep your painting a little bit away from the glass. That layer of matting provides that. So that's what I do. Let's see. Somebody asking for the answers to these questions. I was like, ooh, I really better answer. Okay. Okay. Can I post a video of the process of turning artwork into prints? I'm going to think more about that. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it well. So I want to think through that and plan it. It is a pretty cool thing though, to learn how to turn your artwork into prints. It enables you to sell your piece of art more than once. It enables you to make it affordable versus your original would be valued higher. But if you can make prints of it, then it makes your art accessible to more people, I think. So I'm going to think more about that one. I'm not answering yet though. Online class. Okay, about Christmassy stuff. I don't know. So I have been in transition with my website. It has gone very poorly, and I've tried not to talk about it a lot because I don't like to just kind of complain and talk about things that aren't going well. But my website, I've had a couple different companies, believe it or not, work with me, and then I've had to end those. So my website's going to be so cool. I cannot wait. I'm working so hard on it. But because of that, it's really affected a lot of my business moves since leaving my shop, closing my shop. And but it's going to be a very cool website where you can order artwork as prints, as framed prints, and then choose your frame color, as framed canvases, different sizes, everything. It's going to be so cool. I cannot wait. But that's kind of my big project right now. How long have I been painting? Turning into 5 years this month, which is so cool. And I started just like you guys on YouTube, checking out books from the library, following all my favorite artists. I'm going to answer that one. I think somebody asked. I'm not there yet, but my favorite artists, Liron, Yanconsky. I don't know if it's Yanconsky, but you should be able to find him. Liron, he's a watercolor teacher on YouTube. Complex scenes. He's brilliant. Study his work. I love it. Another one is Paul Heaston, but he's not watercolor. He is pencil or mostly ink. He's a brilliant, brilliant artist. In perspective, he'll park his car and paint a dump truck, or not paint, sketch a dump truck perfectly. It's like his brain. I just want to just take some of it and put it in my brain. He is so good and so fun to watch. And he talks about how to sketch in perspective, including he'll take a sphere, like a round shape, and then he'll teach you how to have, what would that be? 4-point perspective? I don't know. He's very fun to watch and try to learn from. Also, another one would be Wagonized. If you look up Wagonized, and I can't think of her name, Fran maybe, but she is a brilliant sketch artist, and she works with hatching and cross hatching. Stunning work, beautiful work. I've taken one of her classes and felt so proud of what I did, so I might take another one of hers. And then you can go to Proko, it's Proko, probably like .com. And there's tons of tutorials there as well about body and the head and lots of different stuff. So those are some of my favorites. Notice that not many of them are watercolor, but we love what we love, right? Let's see. Would you consider monthly paintings? That's cute. I don't know, maybe so. You guys are so kind. And maybe looking for something bigger to paint. That could be cool too. What did I do before becoming an artist? Well, I'm a mother of 5. My first 3 kids are biological. My last 2 are adopted from local foster care. So 5 kids keeps us busy. We are a multiracial family. This is some stuff you don't know about me. I don't share my family much, especially because they're like teenagers now too. So my kids are 13, 14, 18, 19, and 21. It's like the strangest time. So, so busy with my kids. I went to school for social work. My husband is a therapist, so that's kind of the vibe of our family. And I have been a social worker. I've been a landlord in like a housing nonprofit. I have been the director of a kids mentoring program at our local elementary school. I've been an office manager. I've been kind of random stuff. But like my chronic pain, I don't get into it too much, but it has been long going. So I've actually, I've been in pain management since probably 2007. I had ruptured disc, massive rupture, spinal fusion, 2 different levels. Then I have been getting radio frequency ablation. Oh, probably like every 6 months or something. I don't know. But finally we're learning. It's more my sacroiliac joint. Listen, I'm diving too far into the medical world. We're going to come right back to art. Okay. What are my goals in life? Oh man. Oh, these are big questions. To, I think, be a really great mom and grandma. I don't have any grandkids. Hopefully that's not for a while, but that's one thing. And then to become really good at art. I don't even have a reason. It's not about the money or the fame, or I don't have any like ideals like that. I just really love the ability to lean hard into a specific thing and watch myself grow in it. So I would say, I don't know if that's my goal, but that's important to me. To love well, to see others love well, to teach my kids to love well. How do I balance my time being an artist, a mom, a wife, and a cat turtle lover? I don't know the answer. That's why I'm a little burnt out at the moment and trying to decide what's next. But I did have a shop and I closed the shop because I found that it kept me there more than I wanted to. And I think part of me trying to find a better balance was closing that and then turning it into an online shop. And I've had the best time teaching on YouTube. So, nobody balances anything. We all just do our best. Do I plan to offer online classes monthly? I don't know, but I can imagine that I'll go that direction. I do have 2 online classes. They're $20 each on my website, and those ones are a bigger sheet of paper. So that's that. I don't know, but stay tuned, I guess. You guys are so nice. Okay, that's just kind. Somebody did ask where I get my glasses. My glasses, probably the ones you saw, are from Costco. I do not think I answered all of the questions. Hold on one second. I think if I go to, I think there's more if I go. That was all Facebook. Sorry, I don't want to take too long on this. I think it might make me like watch my own videos though. Let's hope not. Let's see. Let me first mute this whole thing. Sorry for the delay, you guys. Here we go. Ask away. Comments. Oh, great. Okay. Did I do Kelly's Inktober? No, but I love doing her videos. So I think part of like some good self-care for me might be at my little tray table in bed doing some of Kelly's videos in the evening. I like that idea. Why do you post at midnight? That's a good question. It's because you can schedule them through YouTube to post at midnight. And since we're all in different time zones, that just felt like the safest way to kind of do it. So I schedule them to go out at that time. What do you think of gouache? Or gouache, people say it differently. So it's kind of halfway between, I don't know how to describe it better than this, but it's kind of between acrylic and watercolor. I like it. I have done, I think only one of my art prints on my website I did with that medium. I think it's cool. I love watercolor, so I find that I always want to try other things, but I always come back because I've put so much time into watercolor. It feels so natural to me, but I do think it's really cool. I'd like to experiment with it a little bit more. So gouache is a fun one for you guys to try if you haven't as well. How do you come up with your designs? Okay, so I have done a lot of classes in person, so I would just take from things I did in my in-person classes, and I would take a small part of that. But also, I mean, sometimes if I want to teach a certain thing, I'll look for other people's ideas. A lot of things I've found from Pinterest, I'll get the idea, then I'll change it and make it my own. Or like I said before, my favorite is to take several ideas into one. So let's say we want to paint a penguin. I might find some simple penguin art, but I want to find 5 of them, take my favorite parts of them and try to create my own. I never want to be too close to someone else's artwork. So if there's something that we've painted together that is close to someone else's artwork, I just would not sell that. I might teach something similar. I try to keep it as far as I can. That's sometimes a challenge, but I think that's hard, like to come up with enough things that are cute and interesting and then teach them. So that's tricky. Why 3x3? I think I thought it was easy. It was like less intimidating to me to do a 3" by 3" piece of paper. What's my favorite fast food? I love this. Chips and queso, 100%. It's a problem. Qdoba. Are there any other paint brands you like? I mean, for acrylic, yes, but for watercolor, I really do just stick with this one. I sold these in my store too, so I've sold a lot of these, and everybody else loves them too, so I just haven't changed. But like I said, I'm going to review that other set. What's your favorite thing to paint? How do you plan your videos? How tall are you? I'm 5'7", and I have a tall family, so like my oldest son is 6'4". My daughter's 5'9". The rest, we have some still growing, but you guys have good questions. Will I continue teaching? You guys make it really fun. So that's why I'm not answering yet, because I don't want to like put an end to it, though I would want it to have value. I don't know, or at least be really fun. Oh, your hair is beautiful. Is it naturally gray? That's really nice. Yes, it is totally natural, and the front is like way like whiter than the back, but it's all pretty similar. But I started to let my hair color grow out when I was about 30, so young, and that was right around when we adopted as well. I think so. Does that make sense? I don't know if that timeline works out, but it is natural, and thank you. Yeah, I never got more compliments than when I grew out my hair. So if you're thinking about it, just totally do it. It's fun to see what your body does. So did I do Zentangle? No, but I love the things Kelly teaches. Kelly Bluen on YouTube, for those of you who didn't get here through her. Let's see. Did you get tired of announcing the supplies over and over? Yeah, I was like, should I have done this? Should we have done this differently? I don't know. But then you got to think, people are going to be, it's on their first video or it's their 30th video, and I don't know. So you want to just make it good for everybody. How come just a size 10 round brush? It might be Liron that taught me that way. I don't know what he uses now, but yeah, I love it. And I love how it's versatile. Somebody else asked, and it might be coming up, but why don't you use a watercolor pencil that would disappear or something? I literally don't even know about that, I'm gonna be honest. And there's something about me that just loves the simplicity of, like, you don't need it. You can do it with these simple, with these simple ingredients, you can do anything you want. And I love that. There's just something about simplifying the process that I think makes it even more available to everyone, you know? Let's see. I love your snarky sense of humor. What I love about that is, like, I didn't know I was being snarky or funny in any way, so that's great. Choosing colors. Oh, this is an interesting question. My question is about choosing colors for a project like the Day 28 Blooms. ooh, I can't remember what was day 28. Did you consider color theory? Oh, I know what that is. Okay, bloom, so cauliflowering. Did you consider color theory before you decide what colors to put together? Color combination is the most difficult part for me. Great question. For that one, I loved the experiment of it. And since I really challenged everyone to do like observation, then I was like, I want you to see what happens when you put these two colors together versus when you put these two colors together. And yeah, if they are opposites on the color wheel, you might get brown or you might get gray. But the thing is, I think that we learn that's bad. And I don't think it's bad. A little bit of brown or gray could be beautiful. So that's why I didn't want to give too much instruction on that, because I mean, colors are awesome. You can tell I like to paint with color, but I also think that there's a way to balance out color. And the longer I'm an artist, the more I learn that I don't want it to look like a Crayola 8-pack. And I say that, and I know it sounds like in a negative way. I don't mean it that way, but I mean, there's more that you can do, and there's more that you can learn about what you like as an artist. So the way to sort of take that as your base, and then kind of what do you want to do with it from there. So so that's my answer to that part. But in choosing colors, I know there's several people who are like, want help with choosing colors. I think you have to continue to experiment. So I would say if you could take a piece of paper and you could start to mix colors and go down your palette, and maybe you start here and you mix these two, these two, these two, right? And you see what happens. Mix these two and see what happens. And you have to take it and you have to observe. Like, there's some things that you can learn what you need to do from someone else, but then you have to do it. It's funny. It's kind of like you have to put in the work, but I don't mean it that way. I mean it like you won't be able to learn what you like until you observe what happens when you do these different things. So just the emphasis being on what do you like? That's how you become the artist that is you. Okay, let's see. This is so much talking. If you're still here, I love you. Holiday series. I don't know. What research did I do? Well, I started with so many things that had been helpful to me in my journey. So you'll notice not everything is a watercolor tip. Some of them are about drawing or about color or about just random things that I've found to be helpful. So I started with that, and then I tried to sort of search through different books and different things to say, like, what am I missing? Because there was a couple of things like negative painting. Shout out to the negative painting day. I do negative painting, but more like we did in the Flamingo on day 30. I don't do it the way that we taught it that way, but I thought if I add negative painting, this will be a really all-encompassing series, and I liked that idea. So that's the type of research I did, and then I tried to take things I've already painted or taught, and then filled in from there. I would just look at things and observe what I see happening in them, and then if I could teach that, I would kind of link them up. So I did a lot of work in prep for it, for sure. Okay, this was the favorite watercolor artists. Let's see. I don't think there's a question on this one. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, this is talking about drawing first or watercoloring first. So I do like to do, you guys know by now, pencil sketch first, watercolor second, details at the end with your ink or your fine liners, or you can get into like acrylic paint pens. In fact, I have some right here. These are by Grabby, but there's Posca as well. And so this is like acrylic paint in a pen, and you shake it really good. And then this is really fun for detail on top of watercolor. I don't ever teach it in classes because I didn't have enough to go around for a class, and then not everybody has them. But they're very fun to do your watercolor and then just embellish it or add details. Let's see. I haven't done a watercolor tutorial in a while. So I don't have any current recommendations. I do follow some people. I just can't think of their names at the moment. People learning to paint with one brush. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Really just learning that you can get tiny spaces with a big brush, and it's all about water control. I did hear a lot of feedback about people learning water control in this series, and I'm so glad. I think that's just like a huge, huge part of watercolor. My glasses are from Costco. How do you care for your brushes? Good question. Do I have one? My desk is a mess right now, but you can't see it, so I didn't have to clean it. So this is my brush. I always just make sure that I've cleaned it in the bottom of my jar first, and I dry it on my towel, you know, dry it, and I just set it in a jar, and that's it. Because it's watercolor, that's all you need to do. If I travel with them though, I try to make sure they're not in a container so small that it's gonna mash them. I leave either space for them. Yeah, honestly, I don't put little caps over them when I travel. I just make sure the bag is bigger or they're stuck vertically when I travel to paint. Let's see. This might be the end on here. Okay, there might be more questions, but I can't find them at the moment, and I know you've been listening to me for a long time. So if you have more questions, you can put them here. I'll probably just answer them in the comments, but you guys are awesome. It's been so fun to hang out with you. Thanks for even having questions for me. And if this series, the 30-day series, was helpful for you, I would love it if you shared it with somebody else. And we can kind of make watercolor more simple for more people. And thank you. Your artwork has been beautiful. If you haven't seen it, if you go to my Facebook page, Audrey Shantz Art, you can see everybody's artwork from the 30 days, and you can add your own. You guys are a very supportive and encouraging community, and I love that. And we'll see if I can take a quick video of my earrings for you. Okay, this is my earring collection, which I think is funny to share with you, but I've bought some of them. Like, I like to buy earrings when I travel. It's kind of a fun way to do it. I love my Frida ones in the corner. And then here's this side. They were like color coordinated, but then, you know, you wear them and you don't put them exactly back where they go. I like my little birds, and these are dinosaurs. And there's always a couple here. But this is the earring collection, and yeah, I'm probably gonna keep it growing because I can't stop myself.